This week's interview is with a good friend of mine, Timothy LeDuc. Timothy and his lovely partner, DeeDee Leng, made it all the way through into the trials for the U.S. Olympic team for skating.
My name is Timothy LeDuc. I'm from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in the USA. I'm 24 years old, and I have been skating since I was 13 years old.
Timothy and I met, 3 or 4 years ago. Now, Timothy, why don't you tell them more about your skating? When did you start?
I started skating when I was 13 years old. I had always really been attracted to the sport. I think I really was attracted to the mix of artistry and athleticism. I couldn't really get it out of my head. The first time I watched it was in the 1998 Olympics. I watched Tara Lipinski win the gold medal, and I remember bothering my parents saying, I really want to try that. I really want to figure skate. And they were like, well, there's not even an ice arena here in Iowa, and boys don't figure skate. That's not going to happen. Let's try football again, or let's try soccer or swimming.
And you know what, Timothy? That's what a lot of parents over here do. They want their children to go into more mainstream sports. So how did you convince them?
Well, it was actually 4 years later when I watched the Olympics in 2002 again, and it kind of reignited that passion that I had. And I kept bothering them, and it just so happened that between 1998 and 2002, they built an ice arena about a mile from my house, and it was one of the best facilities within the Midwest, and so it was kind of opportunity for us. So finally, after bothering them several times, they signed me up for figure skating lessons. I went once a week, group class once a week for about a year, and they saw that I continued to improve, and I talked about it all the time, and I couldn't stop watching the skating competitions on TV, and my dad would record them actually on old VHS tapes, and we would watch them. My sister is a very big part of my skating journey also, and she's a skater as well. We would watch them until the tapes would wear out.
Oh my goodness, so you were really enamored with this.
Almost obsessed, you could say. And the competitions from that time, from late 2002 up until now, I've seen those competitions so many times. I can quote every bit of commentary. I could tell you every jump that the skaters had done at each competition through the season, just because I had watched it and studied it so diligently. So I just really took off from there and continued to improve and really stuck with it.
So did you manage to get into competitions? I mean, learning to skate is one thing and doing very well. It's kind of the competitive that you begin to see how you are against other people, isn't it?
You're very heavily compared, and there are fewer of you, especially with the boys. There are much less male skaters.
Probably because they've all moved over to football and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the comparisons are very harsh, and because there's only one Olympic champion every 4 years.
Yes.
There's only one spot on the top, or there's one national champion or one world champion. So there's very few to begin with, but they have to weed out so many in order to get to that one champion, that one Olympic champion every year.
But a lot of people, though, Timothy, start this when they're 4 or 5, and you didn't start it till quite late. For you to have got up as far as you did in such a short time, you must have had a very natural talent for this.
I would say yes. I've definitely been blessed, and also I've had really, really great people along the way to help me. I have been incredibly lucky to have the opportunities given to me, like just having the rink built a mile from my house.
That was very lucky. Now, when we last spoke a few years ago, your skating partner, had decided to move on to other things. That must have been devastating for you.
Yeah, when we met, I was in a really interesting time in my life, actually. Well, I started as a single skater, and up until 2010, I skated singles, and at that point, I had switched over to pairs. It felt right to me. Something about creating an atmosphere and a mood and an art form on the ice with somebody, as opposed to just by myself, was very attractive to me.
But there's got to be a bond between you, hasn't there, Timothy? I mean, you can't just pick someone off the street. Their style, like singers, they have to kind of match themselves up and have the similar style, and that must be the same for a skater.
Yeah, certainly. They're sort of, they become your wife, in a way.
Yeah.
When I was training for the Olympic trials this last year, we were training 8 to 10 hours a day. Physical activity of training, whether it's stretching, cycling, swimming, weights, off-ice lifts, on-ice training, all the necessary training that we do. It's 8 to 10 hours a day. So you spend, that much time with someone every day. You get to know them very well.
Yes, you do.
And then also on the ice, you have to have that perfect match. There's so many things that have to line up. So yeah, certainly it's not like you just pick a skater out of a crowd and say, I'm going to skate with you. There's a lot that goes into that.
So Timothy, take me through then. Your partner announces, and you've got great hopes. I remember you were hoping to go into the Olympics even that time with your previous partner. Take me through the process of how you actually found another partner. Not only that, but an incredibly talented partner. Was it DeeDee?
DeeDee, yeah.
So tell us about that, how you met and what your feelings were.
My first partner's name was Cassie. We teamed up in 2010. I moved to Indianapolis for her. I was when I was in Iowa, so I was working 3 jobs, going to school full-time and skating, and I left all of that. I left my friends and my family to move to Indianapolis. At the end of our second season, things were not going quite the way we had hoped, and she had, like you said, she had moved on, and it was almost like a divorce in a lot of ways. You know,
yes.
And you dream together about going to the Olympics and the things you'll accomplish. And when that's broken, you know, a big piece of you is really hurt by that.
Yes, so, but you know what I admired about you, Timothy, was how quickly you picked yourself up, you dusted yourself off, and you went straight back into it because your dream was not broken. And that's a message for all the people listening to understand how quickly you were able to do that and move on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. You just always have the undeniable understanding that you will make it. But you just know it's going to happen for you. Your dream will come true. Well,
let's just 1 minute. Let's talk about that. So you come from nowhere. And I have to say that when I heard that you were trying for the Olympics, for the last Olympics, I thought, you know what, for him to have come this far, to find a new partner, to be working as hard as you were, I bet he's going to get very high up in this. So you started training. When did you start training at the training camp for the Olympic team?
I guess formally I started when I moved to Indianapolis in 2010. I had been moving up through the ranks up to that point, and I was a single skater, and it wasn't until I moved to the top level, the Olympic eligible level, in 2010 to skate with that partner. So it was really 4 years that I worked to make that team.
I mean, this is incredible. You know, you hear about Oksana and people like that have been skating since before they could almost walk. You know, they're 2.5 years old and they're on skates. And here's you. Well, I trained for like 4 years, and I was eligible. It's incredible, honestly.
Well, you know, I had to make up for last time. I started when I was 13, so I didn't have any time to waste. It was like, right, this is what we're going to do. Let's get it done.
But you've got a very, very supportive family as well. They're 110% behind you.
And I know it's maybe cliche to say this, but I would be nothing without them.
That's
right.
They
are everything to me. Both my brother, my sister, and my parents are the most important people in my life. They've shared every bit of the triumph and every bit of the crushing defeat with me. So would
you try again for the next Olympics, Timothy?
It's a good question. This sort of goes back to what I mentioned earlier about making it and what people define as making it. And I always knew in skating that I would make it. When I met you, I was kind of at the crossroads with my partner, not knowing if I would find another girl or, what was next. When you look at the situation, you think, oh my gosh, it's over. I'm done. There's no way I can go on from here. And yet it was so confusing to me because I'm like, no, I'm not done yet. I haven't made it where I want to be yet. So, no, this isn't over.
and Timothy, I've got to say, that is what I love about you, your drive to success. And just talking about success for a minute, success isn't, making it onto the Olympic team and getting number 1. Success is in a very short space of time being eligible over the thousands of kids that want to be there and have been practicing and training all their lives. And you did it in a short space of time. That, for me, is absolutely incredibly good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, yes, making the Olympics is some people's definition of making it or success. To me, it goes a little bit further. It was becoming the best skater that I could be.
Yes.
And knowing that I made the sacrifices, I put the work in, and I became the best that I could be at something. I perfected a skill to its highest level, and that really was what making it was for me.
Yes.
Was knowing that I could look back on skating videos with me at the Olympic trials, regardless of all the adversity and all the things that came my way. I put my heart and soul into that, and I did it. I mean, I became the best skater that I could be. So, and that sort of circles back to your question of whether I want to go back and compete again. I will never be rid of the desire to try and make the Olympic team. I will always dream about.
Yeah, let's see where you are then. I mean, it's not something that you have to urgently do right now, but
Right.
you may be in an even better place then. But I want to tell you that they're going to play this interview on Glow Time Radio in the UK, and my little granddaughter Ruby Rose, who is absolutely beautiful, she's dancing in a street dance group in London, and I want her to hear this interview, for her to see with someone like you how far you can get when you're really determined and motivated to do that.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I think success is in some ways in the eye of the beholder, and I think if you can honestly look back at your work and say, you know what, I did it.
Yes.
I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't have changed anything, and I know I did everything I could. That's making it. That's success.
I absolutely agree with you. That is precisely my definition of success. Now, where are you right now, Timothy?
I am in Tenerife, Canary Islands, just off the coast of Western Africa. And following my Olympic run in January, I decided to take a little bit of a break from skating. But I didn't want to be done skating altogether. So there was a really great opportunity presented to me to skate aboard a cruise ship with Royal Caribbean. And so we travel all around, mostly Mediterranean and Western Europe right now. A group of 10 of us all perform in the ice show here.
So are you enjoying it now? I mean, what about when the ship's moving? Doesn't that throw you off?
It does, and it was one of the hardest parts to adjust to, because, the surface that you're skating on is moving underneath you. So you think there's sometimes when I go up from a jump, and the ship will lift to the side, and the ice will actually raise because the ship is lifting. So, you come up a little short on the jump because the ice is higher than you expected it to be.
But you know what, Tim?
That happens.
If you can do that, you can dance anywhere.
Yep, exactly. And we went through a storm the other day on a show day, and we thought about canceling it because it was so rocky. But we went for it anyway, and it's just you kind of have to.
Did anyone fall?
It's rock. Oh yeah, it does happen, especially when it's rocky. Ice is slippery.
Yeah.
And the best of us fall many times.
First of all, they're going to an ice show, so they know full well the degree of difficulty.
And it's so wonderful that I get to now use those skills that I worked so many years to attain, and now skate for people from all around the world.
So when does your cruise finish?
My contract finishes in February. Right now we're porting out of Southampton, so just outside of London.
You're in my neck of the woods, Tim.
I am, yeah. Every 2 weeks we come back to Southampton.
So you've got to have a beer for me in one of the local taverns.
I will. There's a great place called Slug and Lettuce where we go.
I know that pub.
Do you really? Yeah,
yes, I do.
Wonderful.
Aren't you amazed by the funny names that we have for pubs in England?
Yeah. That's great. So,
well, Timothy, I'll let you go. What a lovely interview, and I'm so glad that we were able to catch up because I know you're going back on board within the hour. Let's keep in touch. I'm very interested to see, where you go from here and what you do.
Certainly. Well, and it's great talking to you now because you met me 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
When I was kind of at the lowest point of my career, and you met me at that lowest point, and now speaking to you again, where it's kind of come full circle, where I've kind of really become that best skater I always wanted to be, and now I'm getting to use that and travel all around the world, and now talking to you, it's a wonderful full circle. All
right, well, Timothy, it's been a wonderful interview. Do you want to say goodbye to all the listeners on Glow Time Radio?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's been a great pleasure talking with Tony. Again, my name is Timothy LeDuc, and take care.
Yes, you too.
Thank you, Tony. Great talking to you.
Great talking to you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's been a great pleasure talking with Tony. Again, my name is Timothy LeDuc, and take care.
Yes, you too.
Thank you, Tony. Great talking to you.
Great talking to you, Tim. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you.